Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter, and I am here with a fun shaker card for you today. I'm going to be using these Lawn Fawn Party Balloon dies to create a fun shaker card, and I'm going to do a disclaimer at the beginning of this video. I was having a really bad crafting day when I filmed this. This was like the Murphy's Law of cards for me. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong. I don't know, my head wasn't in the game or something, but in the end, it turned out okay, and I have a cute card to show for it. So I've started out by using the Lawn Fawn Party Balloon dice to cut out some scrap cardstock. I'm just using these to help me get my positioning on the card front because I'm going to be doing a little partial die cutting with these. And once I kind of figured out the layout of my card, I am using this stamp set. This is the Paper Smooches Scripty Saying stamp set. Wow, say that 3 times fast. And I'm inking it up in some Hero Arts black ink, and I'm using my Fiskars stamp press to stamp that onto the front of my card front in the lower right-hand corner. And I like using the Fiskars stamp press because it has those grid lines. It helps me get everything lined up straight because I can kind of match it up with the grid lines on my mat that I work on as well. So now that I have that sentiment stamped in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm just using a little repositionable adhesive to adhere these balloons right where I want them. And once I get them adhered and I get all the angles just so, I am going to put my dies over the top of these. Now, this is really a good technique to use when you're wanting a precise placement of your dies, because you're going to see me put these on and then tape them down with a little scotch or post-it tape here. And these kind of lock right over where those die cuts are. So you kind of just fit them on there almost like a puzzle, and you can just adhere your die over, keep them in place with a little washi or a little post-it tape, and they'll stay in place. So now I'm going to show you how I'm building up my sandwich. I have my my Sizzix magnetic platform on the bottom, and then I have my cutting plate, and then I'm going to use this little cutting pad here. It's called On the Edge cutting pad. I love them for partial die cut, and you can see that I'm leaving just a little bit of that die poke or the edge of the card poking out of the top of that. Now, this is where Murphy's Law happened. I actually cut too far. I did not leave enough of a gap. And so I cut all the way through this card front. I meant to leave a little edge, but I'm going to fix that here in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting these out. I'm going to place that die back over that other balloon on the other side. I'm not going to worry about partial die cutting this because I've already messed up at this point. But I am going to salvage this, and I do salvage it in the end, and it all turned out okay, and nobody will know any different except for me and you, right? So now that I've messed up, I'm going to take that card front that I've already stamped and die cut. I'm just adding some Tombow stamp runner adhesive onto the back of it. And I'm going to take another piece of the Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock and adhere it right over the top. Now, this piece of cardstock is cut just slightly larger than the card front that I was using before. And so I ended up with a little bit larger piece on the front of my card, but that's okay. So now I've gone ahead and built up my platform, my sandwich once again, but this time I'm using the regular cutting plate. These are the standard cutting plates. They're a little bit tapered at the end, and you're going to see that I left that gap and I got the cut right this time. So I have just that little bit of kind of border around the top of that balloon, and this bottom one cut completely, which is what I wanted to do. And now I'm going to do the same thing, build up that sandwich again using the standard cutting pad where it's tapered at the end, leaving a little bit of that card front hanging out. And because it's tapered, it doesn't cut quite as far as the other one. So I have these partially die cut balloons, and I need to finish off the cut along that straight edge that I was leaving. So I am using my paper trimmer here, and I'm just going right between the edges of those balloons. And I did have to kind of snip it off with a pair of scissors here, but this is what I was originally going for right here. I just didn't get it right the first time, and that's okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing with that other balloon. Now, if you don't have a paper trimmer that you're confident doing this with, you can use a craft knife and a ruler. So you see, I've just done a little cut between where that is, and I've left that border around the edge. Now, this is where I messed up. I went ahead and put all of the foam adhesive all over the back of this card front, and I forgot to put the acetate on before. And I need that acetate in there so the guts of my shaker don't fall out. So you're seeing me here. I had already taken all the time to add all this foam adhesive. I'm just pulling off that foam adhesive and I'm going with it. So I'm adding my acetate with that foam adhesive here. And this acetate's really awesome. This is the Essentials by Ellen acetate. And it's really nice, clear acetate. It's kind of like a good heavy weight, and I really like it. So now I'm going to add foam adhesive all over the back of this again. And this was a little bit time consuming. You could use the fun foam if you want, but I wanted to make sure that each of these were a separate chamber. And you could totally do that with the fun foam, but I messed that up too. So I just went with the foam adhesive and just put it all over the back. So you can see that I'm actually sealing up each of those balloon chambers separately so that when I put the sequins in there, I can have 3 different colors of balloons. So there is adhesive, foam adhesive touching each other around each of those balloons. So none of the paths will cross, nothing will get mixed up. And then I'm just using my EK Success powder tool to go around the inside of that foam adhesive to remove a little bit of the stick so my shaker card will move a little bit more. And then I just wiped out some of the powder using a paper towel to make sure that it was nice and clear still. So now it's the fun part, and I get to fill up these balloons. And I used a mixture of some different sequins for these. I started out with some sparkling clear sequins because they are my favorite and they go with everything. And I just kind of sprinkled some of those in there. And in the small balloon, I'm going to use the watermelon sequins. These are the 4mm watermelon sequins from Pretty Pink Posh. In that top balloon, I'm using lemon drop sequins. So these are the 6mm lemon drop sequins. I'm just sprinkling some of those in. And then finally, you see I'm spilling them all over the place. You guys, this was one of those days, I promise you. I walked out of the craft room and I was like, I'm done. So anyway, I picked them all out, put the orchid in that other large balloon, and then I decided it needed a little bit more, so I'm just using a little bit of these round, flat, gold confetti things from Pretty Pink Posh. I don't know if they're called sequins or confetti. I'm not real sure. But anyway, I'll link them below. And now that I've got all of them filled up, I'm going to remove the backer off of that foam adhesive and then attach this piece of black and white pattern paper. So you can see the black and white stripes and all of that. And there is a little excess on one edge, but I was having such a day, I thought it was not a good idea for me to try to trim that up and make it even. So now I'm just taking a little bit of twine. I've tied some knots in them and I'm adhering them with a little bit of multi-medium in the matte finish. This is a Ranger product that I love. And I'm going to go ahead and attach them first just at the top of the balloon or at the base of the balloon. Then I'm going to let those dry. And then once I let those dry, I kind of fiddled with the ends a little bit more. You see them kind of curved around in that. And I adhered them with a little multi-matte medium so they would stay in the shape that I wanted. So that completes my very challenging day in the craft room and this really adorable Wish Big shaker card. As always, I will have links to all the products used in the YouTube description as well as over at my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.